That doodle. Hello and welcome back. I'm Will. I'm the host of the Board Book Geek, and it's been a crappy few weeks. But let's be real and let's put this one out there. Lord of the Rings, The Power of the Rings, or the Rings of Power, is doomed to fail. And here's why. Take the fact that Amazon basically kind of breezed over the truth. They didn't lie, they breezed over the truth over what it would be based on and how it would be created. This isn't the prequel to The Lord of the Rings. This isn't the Silmarillion. This is nothing to do with The Lord of the Rings. The story is taking elements of the appendices from the three Lord of the Rings novels and combining them. They've compressed the timeline of events down from hundreds of thousands of years to God knows. They've fundamentally changed background stories of the characters. For example, the Elven King. They've changed his story. They've changed Galadriel's story. She's now an angry young woman stereotype, which is getting really old. I bet she will cry a lot. I just have a feeling she's either going to look like she's sucking a lemon or crying. You know, Michael from Star Trek syndrome. Smile more. I hate that phrase. People tell me to do that, but I hate it. But it's like, there's two extremes for women in television right now, especially in these kind of garbage shows, that is either sucking lemons or crying. Gets boring really fast. Secondly, overall the production looks cheap. Like I've seen better costumes and better pieces and weaponry from basically cosplayers and cons. I've seen beautiful pieces that would fit right in, that are original creations. All these costumes look cheap. The CGI also looks cheap, but that could change soon. But also, all the shots I've seen in the trailers, the reactions, all of that stuff, have been look like television from the 1990s. It's framed that everything's out in the middle of the shot, and that's not how you frame TV, especially in the era of widescreen and HD and all of that. You don't frame for the centre, unless you're shooting in 4.3. They've also hired directors and people that have no clue, and also the Tolkien experts they've hired aren't Tolkien experts. They take the attitude that Tolkien is problematic, and they're fixing Tolkien's work, and please. They hired you, but A, because you're a diversity hire, I'm sure of it, and B, because you agree with them, and you will say yes. So I'd be very interested in how much they're paying you. After seeing Amazon's Wheel of Time, that made me even more worried. The overall cheapness of that show, the overall bad casting, the overall watered down production, questionable choices, narrative story flow, and just cringy writing in parts, just shows with that one. And that's also a problem. I don't know how many people are crossing over into this one, but behind the scenes I am genuinely concerned. There's been numerous rewrites, there's been people fired, they've got rid of people, and I feel like a lot of the time they're just getting rid of people to get rid of them because they're in the way. And that's a really sad statement to make, and I want to say that, because Amazon, or the production crew behind this, don't want to they want to use Lord of the Rings' name. They want to use familiar characters. They want to use all the stuff that we think of as more casual layman would think of as Lord of the Rings, but tell a story that is not Lord of the Rings. Tolkien would literally be spinning in his grave. No one wants this. No fans want this. And telling the blue ticks with the anime and the Steve Universe style thumbnails on Twitter with their little blue ticks, this is who they're aiming at. People don't engage with it, people who don't watch it, who'll be singing its praises even if they haven't watched it. That's a thing as well. This show is doomed. It's genuinely doomed, and the more leaks, the more stuff that comes out. So far it's looking more and more like Game of Thrones. And I loved Game of Thrones, but Lord of the Rings isn't Game of Thrones. And if there is sex, I will not be happy. I know there's going to be a horrible tacked-on love story, i.e. The Hobbit again, but if there is sex in this, no. And I'm not a prude by any means. Sex has its place in media, but not Lord of the Rings. Tolkien again would be spinning in his grave. The attitude of the production crew and the people behind it, we're fixing Lord of the Rings, we're telling the story Tolkien didn't write. He did write it, you dickweeds. He did. Like, he did. You just don't have the rights to use it. And then weaponizing the criticism that fans have, calling them instaphobes, and other things that I cannot say on this platform because YouTube is ridiculous. You know, saying that, oh, if you criticize this show, you're a ist. Or that it's a paramount to murder. Oh, please. This isn't yours, this is ours. As Lord of the Rings fans, this is ours. Doesn't belong to the Tolkien Society, it doesn't belong to the One Ring, it belongs to the people who love it. And this, genuinely, I firmly believe it's doomed to fail, and I have a feeling they're going to be doing some identity politics in this, which doesn't need to be there. I have a feeling, and that's not going to be good. And when Peter Jackson adapted Lord of the Rings, they made the decision to take any of their personal views and opinions out and just adapt the work. And that's what they should be doing with this, but they won't. This is going to be woke garbage, and it's going to flop, and we are going to get the blame because, you know, cis white men are evil. This is what's going to happen. I know I sound like I'm down on this, but I think me and thousands upon thousands of other people are sick of things we love being destroyed. Star Trek. Discovery is hot garbage. Disney Star Wars is being milked to death like a lame cow. And they're going to do the same with Lord of the Rings. They're going to milk this to death. You know what? I hope it flops.